Hey, Dr. Tommy Goranga. Like, I can't take my mind off this problem for a second because I've got to work it out, I've got to solve it. And that never works. You go over it a million times for months, weeks, it doesn't solve it. Getting involved in the problem will never solve the problem. It will only add to it. So we don't want to work inside the problem. We want to find out what the solution is to the problem and work on the solution. Actually give our energy to that. And that solution will actually we've got to forget the problem. We've actually got to forget the problem. The solution ultimately is to take us away from the problem. We don't think about it, we don't get involved with it. It's absolutely nothing. It's not in the mind. So the only way we can do that is to accept the solution, full-heartedly absorb with the solution. So when I've been just going over problems, in my head, and it's been difficult, been kind of heavy, really heavy, unnecessarily, in the kind of halfway. Then you're trying to take shelter of material things to relieve the problems and it's not working, so then you don't fully take shelter of Krishna in that situation. So the process of going out on Sankirtan is one that you put in a situation where it's just that little bit more over the threshold of the comfort zone, where you've just got to be like Prahlad Maharaj, who his dad was trying to kill him in so many ways, and he was just, Krishna, Hare Krishna, thinking of Krishna. Nothing happened at all. He just didn't get affected. His dad put him in boiling oil, nothing happened. Threw him in a pit full of snakes, nothing happened. Tried to poison him, he offered the food to Krishna, nothing happened, he ate that. So his dad became so angry because everything he tried to do to his son, he couldn't do it because his son was Krishna conscious. So it's the same way, the material energy is throwing things at us the whole time, bombarding us with material pangs, material anxieties, stresses, problems, and all we have to do is just think of Krishna, like Prahlad Maharaj, and nothing touches us, We don't get affected. It doesn't mean that it doesn't happen, it may still happen, but we're just like totally transcendental. The trick is, the first business that we have to do in any activity that we're undertaking is just meditate on Krishna's form the whole time and chant the Maha Mantra. When we're doing that, chanting Gauranga, Gauranga, like Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Ram, Hare Ram Ram Ram, Hare Hare, chanting all the time and meditating on Krishna's form, then we're not on the material platform at that time, because the name and the form are absolute. There is no difference between the image in the mind of Krishna and Krishna, in one sense. And the same with the Maha Mantra. There is no difference between Krishna's name and his actual form. They're both the same. So when you hear the holy name, you can actually enter into the spiritual world. On a certain, it takes time, but the purity increases. The more you chant, the more blissful you get. The spiritual energy and the material energy are reflecting each other. So, like, imagine a lake and you have a tree, and there's a reflection of the tree in the lake, and it's kind of looks like it's pointing downwards, like the branches are at the bottom but the roots are at the top, at the surface. So the material world's a reflection. So in this material world, when we experience some pleasure, it gets less each time we do it. Like, just take anything you were doing, I've gone over it before, favourite sweet or chocolate bar or something, you eat one, you eat two, and the more you eat, after about 5 or 6, you're going to start feeling sick. So the material energy, because it's a reflection of the spiritual energy, it gets less and less, any type of pleasure we're doing. The spiritual energy will only increase the more we do it. And in the beginning, it may not appear to have any taste at all. It's quite the opposite. Material things are like poison at the end and nectar at the beginning, if you look at it. They start off really nice. The first couple of times you do something, amazing experience. You do it 50 times, not so great, a song or something like that. The more you listen to it, it's nice, you keep it, but you listen to it less and less. You maybe listen to it once every 6 months, once every year. You still like it, but you don't really listen to it that often, We all have kind of songs like those. So really, the spiritual is the opposite, because it's the reflection. It starts off, because we're materially conditioned to trying to enjoy through the senses, because we've had millions of bodies in previous lives, we're so conditioned to trying to enjoy these bodies that we carry the same mind with us, you know, into each body. And the mind actually is like a hard drive. It's been programmed from many, many lives of habitual sense gratification to actually, it's just programmed automatically to take us in that direction. And if you look, like, the whole world is actually just one big conglomeration of people following their minds. And that's how the advertisers and the media are able to make so much money, because they know that people are following their minds, and all they do then is work on how to attract their minds, and they know they've got those same people under their control, because those people are under the control of their own mind. So if I can figure out a way to control their mind, then they're going to follow that mind that I'm controlling. And that's how it works. That's how we've got this situation, this system, where you've got practically less than 1% of the society actually seriously trying to take up self-realization. Now, that's such a low percentage that you have to question, you know, why are people not questioning? You know, you've got to question, why are people not questioning, you know, life? When you ask a lot of people about life, they're just like, oh, you know, like, they look, like, I've had people look at me like I'm weird for even thinking about life, or even questioning why it exists, what's the purpose, what's the, you know, the consciousness and the matter, and how they interact with each other, you know. Because you could say consciousness is very much separate from material energy, but at the same time, they're so interlinked in the way that we interact with the world. Conscious living entities are interacting within the world, that they're also mixed. So trying to understand the balance and the interrelation between the both of them, people just like don't even want to think about that. You know, they'd just rather think about what I'm going to do this Saturday and get over this week's torturous work that I've been doing for the last few years, and I can't bear to go down, you know, the same avenues and the same stairs and the same, you know, coffee breaks, and just everything's just so mundane that people just live for the weekend these days. And it's almost like they've accepted this condition. That's life, that's normal, you know, get over it. Why